PR Connections Radio presents.
Hello, Golden Knights fans, everybody watching all around the world. This is Vegas Hockey Hub recap here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And what an incredible show we have for everybody watching all around the world, as we are going to be doing our breakdown of the Vegas Golden Knights and Montreal Canadiens game that happened at T-Mobile Arena at the Fortress. A very good game that happened there as the Vegas Golden Knights would win in a shootout against the Montreal Canadiens. We're going to break that down here on the show. Before we get into that, go to PRConnectionsRadio.com. Check out all the shows we have on there. We have about a dozen shows on the network, so I highly recommend going on and looking at all the content that you have on PR Connections Radio. Also go to the YouTube channel, PR Connections Radio. Subscribe to the network. It is much appreciated. Once again, all the shows are on the YouTube channel, including Vegas Hockey Hub. And then you also want to go to Vegas Hockey Hub. We have a YouTube channel as well. And if you want to like the video and share to all your friends, it would be much appreciated by your host, Ian Rachiele, to like and share. That would be great. If you want to go into our social medias, we have at Vegas Hockey Hub. We're on all major platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are all there at Vegas Hockey Hub. And you want to follow your host, I'm right down here at Ian Rachiele 18. So what a fantastic game it was, as the Montreal Canadiens, they would be coming down to Las Vegas to go and play at T-Mobile Arena. Now, the first part that we have to talk about in the pregame section of it, the Vegas Golden Knights were wearing their original jerseys, their OG jerseys, as you could call it, the silver gray, the metallic gray uniforms that are iconic. Honestly, the best uniforms the Golden Knights have. I would say reverse retros are up there as well. But I will say for Vegas Golden Knights, wearing the original jerseys against the Montreal Canadiens. I know the last two seasons where they've been using the gold jerseys, but having the old jerseys come back was a nice touch. They look clean too. I don't know what it is about T-Mobile Arena, but when you watch those Golden Knights games, you're seeing them play in their original OG jerseys. They just look clean. They look nice whenever they're playing at T-Mobile Arena. So, yeah, the original jerseys were back for one night. Montreal Canadiens, Vegas Golden Knights game, wearing the original metallic gray jerseys that we have now. He also had a lineup change as Caden Korczak was put into the lineup. Braden Bahal, who has been in for the last couple of games, he is out. Caden Korczak is in. And then Ben Hutton, Braden Bahal, and Jonas Roundbeer as your healthy scratches against Montreal. So once again, Ben Hutton, Braden Bahal, Jonas Roundbeer. I almost said Jonas. Jonas Roundbeer. He is a healthy scratch once he got brought up from Henderson a few games ago. And in the net for your Vegas Golden Knights and was looking for career win number 50, you had Adin Hill, who has been near perfect this season. Of course, he lost in the game against Chicago. But outside of that, he has been near perfect, one of the best players the Golden Knights have had all year long. So yeah, Adin Hill was in net, and he definitely made a good impression. Now, as we got into the game for the Montreal and Vegas situation, I know a lot of people are watching the World Series, a lot of people watching the Raiders and Lions game, but the Vegas Golden Knights playing against Montreal, I have said this, I feel like on repeat. I feel like I have a loop now when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens Vegas Golden Knights game. And yes, by the way, Josh Bailey, my good friend, how's it going? Yeah, let's go. Go Knights, go. Unfortunately, I'm not going to talk too bad about your Sharks being 0-8. I'm going to leave that alone. I got roasted on Twitter for bringing that up. But anyway, let's get actually into the game, because once again, the World Series was on. The Raiders and the Lions, they were on. But the Golden Knights were playing at T-Mobile Arena against Montreal. And the first part that I noticed, and I really have to bring this up, the top line for Vegas had such a slow start. I don't know what it is about Barbashev. I don't know what it is about Eichel, or was it Marchessault, but that top line was so sluggish to begin the game. Like, that first line was just very meh to begin the game. Like Barbashev, I don't know if it was a lack of energy, Jack Eichel just seemed like they weren't getting the puck enough in the first period. I don't know why this has become a reoccurring trend. In fact, there is somebody who wrote an article about Ivan Barbashev and his slow start to the year. Shout out to Chris, by the way. I can't pronounce your last name, otherwise I would say it. But yeah, shout out to Chris. He definitely wrote an article for Vegas Hockey Now about Ivan Barbashev and his slow start. And I'm noticing it now. I'm noticing that it's not just Barbashev who's being slow, but even guys like Eichel and Marchessault, to begin the game, it feels like they're not on the same step. They don't have the same second step. It feels like it takes a while for them to really start gaining traction when it comes to Jonathan Marchessault, Jack Eichel, and Ivan Barbashev. But yeah, I just wanted to very quickly mention this because I've noticed it's been happening a lot for Vegas, where to begin the game, the pacing is just off. Like, I don't know if it's just a first period thing. Like, by second period, it all brushes off and they are where they are now. But it just is alarming how the first 10 games of the year, I believe I've been saying this for the first 8 games this year. Like, I think there's only been 2 games this year where I would say that Vegas wasn't slow in the first period, where the top line wasn't slow, or the top 6 wasn't producing. It's just a kind of alarming thing to say. Now, with 15 minutes into the first period, DJ Paulie C, we have Paul Cotter with his 3rd goal of the season for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I will say, when it comes to Paulie, he is somebody that definitely has made an impact here in Vegas, as you had his 3rd goal of the season, assisted by Alex Pietrangelo and William Karlsson to make it a 1-0 game for Paul Cotter. And Vegas Golden Knights definitely getting first on the board. That has been a recurring trend as well. The Golden Knights have scored the first goal of the game in 7 of the first 10 games this year. And I will say for Vegas, when they eventually turn that switch on, when they stop being sluggish and they flip the switch, they start getting on it. I will give credit where credit is due. The Vegas Golden Knights, once they are at full momentum and all the energy and everything is alive, the Golden Knights are hard to beat when they're firing on all cylinders. Also going to give credit to William Karlsson, Wild Bill, for a 7-game point streak. William Karlsson, 7 games in a row that he has had a point. And it definitely reflects, because when you examine the Vegas Golden Knights and you definitely break down who is leading the Golden Knights in points right now, you can make a solid argument that William Karlsson is the best player on the Golden Knights. I mean, William Karlsson has 11 points in 10 games. I mean, Jack Eichel averaging a point per game, Shea Theodore averaging a point per game. But right now, William Karlsson is having the best start to his career. He is averaging over a point per game, 11 points in 10 games. That's not even talking about his +7 on the plus minus. That's not even talking about the fact that he has, when it comes to opportunities, his shooting percentage is about 16%, which is actually quite impressive. When you compare to Chandler Stevenson, he's around 20%. You have Mark Stone around 15%. But yeah, William Karlsson, I mean, his shooting percentage about 16%. And the fact that he leads the Golden Knights right now in assists. He leads in points. I'm going to say I think Brandon McNabb leads the team in plus minus. I could be wrong about that. But Brandon McNabb plus minus, and you have William Karlsson, who's 11 points in 10 games, averaging more than a point per game. And yeah, William Karlsson definitely living up to that contract, definitely earning that contract now. Like I said, 7-game point streak, 11 points in 10 games for the Vegas Golden Knights. So after period number 1, you had the Golden Knights 1, the Canadiens 0. And as you got into the second period, there was an unfortunate event that happened in the second period as Sean Monahan scored for the Montreal Canadiens, made it a 1-1 game. Sean Monahan, the former Calgary Flame, who went over to Montreal, he made it a 1-1 affair. But that is not the unfortunate event that happened with the Sean Monahan goal. Now, everyone's going to go back to 2021 when they played in the Western Conference Finals. Marc-Andre Fleury had the goal. You had the puck go through his skate, and then Josh Anderson with the easy shot to make the goal. Now, Adin Hill, what happened is that Adin Hill went to go get the puck. All right, he went to relay the puck and to dish it out, but instead of dishing it out, he slipped, and then the puck went off his stick, and Sean Monahan was just there and was like, "Oh, thank you," and he just shot the puck into the net, and scored the goal. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's comparable to Marc-Andre Fleury, because with Marc-Andre Fleury, that was in the playoffs. That was a game-winning goal. That was a situation where you had to not let that goal up. So to me, it's not really comparable. I know some people tried to compare it on social media. I don't compare it because A, this is a regular season game. It wasn't in the playoffs. 2, the puck didn't go through his skates. It went off his stick as he tripped. So I'm going to say it's not really comparable to what happened a few years ago with Marc-Andre Fleury. But yeah, still an unfortunate mishap. One of those dang it that you'll see in hockey. Adin Hill just had a mishap trying to get the puck out, and it just went off his stick. He kind of stumbled. Sean Monahan scored the goal. So yeah, I'm going to say once again, not comparable to what happened a few years ago with Marc-Andre Fleury. Completely different circumstance. But yeah, this very interesting how he had that mishap. Sean Monahan just tapped it in to score a goal. So it was a 1-1 situation as Sean Monahan scored for the Montreal Canadiens. And then with about 2 minutes left in the second period, William Carrier with his second goal of the season, assisted by Chandler Stevenson and Jack Eichel. So Jack Eichel, once again, getting an assist in the game. And I will say, for the Vegas Golden Knights, up 2-1, Chandler Stevenson is kind of having an underrated season. I mean, Chandler Stevenson has only 8 points this year, only 2 goals on the year, but 6 assists for Chandler Stevenson, not doing bad there. And then when you actually break down William Carrier, he has 2 points, and both of them are goals. So William Carrier has 2 points in 8 games, but those 2 points are both goals. So if you want to consider that a win, go right ahead. If you want to consider that a good thing, good by you. But yeah, I'll say for William Carrier, that's just a very fascinating part of it, is that William Carrier has just 2 goals, and that's his only points on the year. And speaking of which, this is the second straight game with a goal for William Carrier. So many people forget how good William Carrier was last year before he got hurt. Like, seriously, so many people forget that William Carrier last year had 16 goals in 56 games. I mean, there's no doubt if he would have been healthy and he would have stayed the whole 82-game campaign, he would have had over 20-goal season. Because William Carrier was putting the puck in the back of the net. He had never had more than 10 goals the year before. But then he has 16 last year, and he already has 2 goals in 8 games. So yeah, William Carrier, congrats to him, second straight game with a goal. So as you end the second period, it would be Vegas 2, Montreal 1. And as you got to the end of the second period, want to give, by the way, props to the Vegas Golden Knights social media team. They talked about who you are for Halloween. Some people dressed up as the Stanley Cup. Some people dressed up as their favorite Golden Knight. Some people dressed up as, for example, William Karlsson. Some people were Mark Stone. Yeah, there were some good Halloween costumes that were on the social media page for the Vegas Golden Knights. So I'll say for Vegas, that was definitely a nice intermission question that they do. Now, early in the third period, Jack Eichel was called for goalie interference, and then there was a small little scrum that happened afterwards. But I'm going to call it from an unbiased point of view. Jack Eichel had nowhere to go. Jordan Harris was pushing Jack Eichel towards the net. And if you understand gravity or understand kinetic energy, if you understand that your energy has to go somewhere, if you're being pushed into the net by a defenseman and the goalie happens to be in the net, there's nothing you can do about it. I personally, being unbiased, I don't see a penalty here because the defenseman was pushing Jack Eichel into the net. Defenseman Jordan Harris was pushing Jack Eichel towards Samuel Montembeault. So if you're pushing him towards Montembeault, where's Jack Eichel going to go? So this is the only penalty I've really add up to this point that I disagree with. I mean, we had a tripping penalty a couple of games ago. I think I might call that out. But this is really one of the only notable ones I would say should have not been goalie interference. Because once again, Harris is pushing Eichel into the net. So as long as Eichel's being pushed, it shouldn't have been a penalty. And more importantly, that little scrum afterwards, I don't care what nobody says about Ivan Barbashev. Man, he is scrappy. I mean, Ivan Barbashev was in there. He was pushing people around. He was tugging on people's jerseys. Like, he was trying to go at it. So, yeah, Ivan Barbashev, I definitely like, that kind of scrappy situation that Ivan Barbashev had in the scrum. And, yeah, it definitely was a bad call. 100%. Because, once again, it's hockey 101. If you're being pushed towards the net, you have nowhere to go. So, I thought it was a bad call. I would still say it's going to be a bad call. And then with about 5 minutes left in the game, you had Nick Suzuki, the former first-round pick by the Vegas Golden Knights, the captain of the Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki with his second goal of the season, assisted by Cole Caulfield and Raphael Harvey-Pinard, as the Vegas Golden Knights would be tied at 2-2. And anybody who follows our live tweets that we do for every single Golden Knights game, I mentioned that a former Golden Knights first-round pick scored for Montreal. And somebody mentioned in the group chat that, yeah, the Montreal wanted Cody Glass, but we wanted them to take Nick Suzuki. This will be the only trade I can come up with now that Vegas definitely lost. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years later. It doesn't matter if it's a decade later. It doesn't matter if Nick Suzuki eventually retires. This is going to be the only trade I say the Golden Knights wish they had back. Because Nick Suzuki got traded for Max Pacioretty, and they traded Max Pacioretty for future considerations. So if you want to do the transitive property thing, they traded Nick Suzuki, Tomas Tatar, and a draft pick for future considerations. If you really want to play that game, you want to do that trade tree, they traded Nick Suzuki, Tomas Tatar, and a first-round pick for future considerations. So, yeah, this is definitely the only trade that I wish the Golden Knights had a mulligan for, where if you could undo it, this is what you would do. So, yeah, Nick Suzuki, the captain of the Montreal Canadiens, scored for Montreal with 5 minutes left in the game. Now, as the Vegas Golden Knights headed into overtime against Montreal, there were some good opportunities. Alex Pietrangelo had one heck of an opportunity in the middle of overtime, but unfortunately couldn't get the puck past Samuel Montembeault. And then, with a few minutes left in overtime, Jack Eichel had a holding penalty on Nick Suzuki, and it caused a penalty shot for Jack Eichel. And Jack Eichel tried to go on the right side, tried to go over the pad, but under the sleeve. It did not work, and it was a no-good penalty shot by Jack Eichel. And it's remained a 2-2 game in overtime. And the reaction on Jack Eichel's face, you knew that was an opportunity he wasn't going to get back. Yeah, that was definitely an unfortunate situation. His face told the whole story. He knew that he could have gotten that puck by Montembeault, and he just unfortunately didn't. So I will say when it comes to Jack Eichel, it was an unfortunate penalty shot, but he just didn't get it done. So, and they went into a shootout, and this was for the second game in a row. Yeah, second game in a row. The Vegas Golden Knights have been in a shootout, and this is how it went down. So, Paul Cotter was the first person in, and he went wide left. In fact, it actually just went way wide left for Paul Cotter. And then the Montreal Canadiens, their captain Nick Suzuki, with a backhand goal against Adin Hill to make it a 1-0 in the shootout for the Montreal Canadiens. Next up was Jonathan Marchessault, and after a very good wrist shot, he would score past Montembeault and make it a 1-1 game for the Vegas Golden Knights in the shootout. The next person up for the Montreal Canadiens was Cole Caulfield. He did a wrist shot on the left side, saved by Adin Hill. Then the next guy was Jack Eichel. He tried to do a wrist shot on the right side, saved by Montembeault. And then you had Sean Monahan, who scored earlier in the game. He did a wrist shot towards the middle, and it was saved by Adin Hill. And then the last person who scored and was the game-winning goal in the shootout, Shea Theodore, with a nice backhand on the left side to win the shootout 2-1 for the Vegas Golden Knights. So yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights are 9-0-1. What an incredible season for the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, this is a team that is 9-0-1. They have not lost in regulation yet, which is insane. I mean, I understand the Blackhawks a few years ago won 21 of the first 24 games. But the Vegas Golden Knights have won 9 of the first 10 games. So, yeah, this is definitely an incredible team. A lot of respect to the Vegas Golden Knights. The player of the game for the Vegas Golden Knights has to be the goalie himself, Adin Hill. Adin Hill stopped 37 shots on net out of 39. So, 37 out of 39 shots, Adin Hill stopped that night. And I will say for Adin Hill, congratulations to him as he picked up win number 50 in his career. So props to Adin Hill on career win 50 in his career. So Adin Hill definitely did a good job tonight. Definitely did good for the Vegas Golden Knights as they beat the Montreal Canadiens. And I've said it before, and I always try to give props where it's due. Props to Nick Suzuki on his game tonight. Montreal Canadiens definitely have a good captain, Nick Suzuki, one of the best players Montreal has, and the fact he's been a 2-time All-Star. I will not be shocked if he ends up being a 7-time, 8-time All-Star by the time his career is over. What an incredible talent. So as we were talking about the Vegas Golden Knights, here's what's coming next for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're going to be playing the Winnipeg Jets on November 2nd. Going to be at the Fortress. And then 2 days later, November 4th, at the Fortress, they'll be playing the Colorado Avalanche. So the Winnipeg Jets on Thursday, and then the Colorado Avalanche on Saturday. So for the Vegas Golden Knights, this whole week, they are going to be in Vegas before heading to Anaheim on Sunday. And you know what? I like this about Vegas, that they're having to play 4 games in 7 days. I want to repeat that real quick. 4 games in 7 days. That is a grind for the Vegas Golden Knights, but I truly believe the Vegas Golden Knights can pull it off. 4 games in 7 days. And as long as they rotate goalies, which is what they've been doing pretty much, if you rotate goalies for the Vegas Golden Knights, it's doable. So if you have Thompson against Winnipeg, Hill against Colorado, and then Thompson against Anaheim, it will probably be very doable for the Vegas Golden Knights. And as you examine the Pacific Division here on Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, Vegas Golden Knights are 9-0-1, 19 points in the first 20 games. They have scored in 19 of the possible 20 points. The Vancouver Canucks are second at 5-2-1, 11 points on the year. Definitely a surprise for the Vancouver Canucks. This team is definitely kind of overachieving at this point. The LA Kings, 4-2-2, 10 points for them. And then the surprise team in hockey so far, the Anaheim Ducks, who are 5-4, 10 points on the year. Seattle Kraken, the team that made the playoffs last year, 3-5-2, only 8 points for Seattle. Yeah, Seattle Kraken have definitely underperformed this year so far. The Edmonton Oilers, the media darlings, everyone who assumed was going to have a great year this year. I guess losing McDavid mattered that much because they are 2-5-1, only 5 points for Edmonton. The Calgary Flames are 2-6-1, 5 points on the year. Now, this one was expected. Calgary was supposed to be entering some form of a rebuilding mode. And then the San Jose Sharks are 0-8-1, as they are now 0-9. They are winless on the year to begin the month of October. So once again, the Pacific Division, Vegas are 9-1, Vancouver 5-3, LA Kings 4-4, Anaheim 5-4, Seattle 3-7, Edmonton 2-6, Calgary 2-7, and San Jose are 0-9. And we're going to drift over really quickly on Vegas Hockey Hub, and we're going to go to the Henderson Silver Knights. As the Henderson Silver Knights, they played against the San Diego goals on Sunday, and they defeated San Diego 4-2 to have your Henderson Silver Knights go to 6-2 on the season. I mean, what an impressive season for Henderson. 6-2 on the year. Vegas 9-1 on the year. Brendan Bryson with the game-winning goal for Henderson. So yeah, Brendan Bryson, if anybody's wondering how he's doing this year, well, he had a game-winning goal. Alex Svetlikov scored in his second goal of the season since being brought up from Savannah to the AHL. 2 goals for him. Jesper Beckman, who has also had his 3rd straight win for the Henderson Silver Knights in net. And then you have the captain of the Henderson Silver Knights, Jake Bischoff, who fed the goal to Alex Svetlikov. You also had Lucas Cormier, the top prospect in Vegas, had an assist on the night. And you know what? I'm going to say this about Henderson Silver Knights. They're going to be taking on the Abbotsford Canucks later this weekend. And so far, the stats for the Henderson Silver Knights, 8 games into the year. And what a good season it has been so far for the Henderson Silver Knights. As right now, really the best player they have is Gage Quinney, who has had 7 points so far in the season. So Gage Quinney, 7 points, 6 of them being assists for the Henderson Silver Knights. You also have the captain in Jake Bischoff, who has 5 points in 8 games. And Gregory Diansenko, who they acquired from the Florida Panthers. He has 4 goals and 9 points in 8 games for the Henderson Silver Knights. And then the top prospect, Lucas Cormier, has 4 assists and 4 points in 8 games, averaging half a point per game. And then Brendan Bryson, who a lot of people are talking about, he has 5 points in 8 games, 4 of them being goals. So once again, for the Henderson Silver Knights, right now, I would say Gage Quinney has definitely been the standout player for them, followed by Diansenko and Bischoff. That's probably the 3 guys I would say, looking at the Henderson Silver Knights, as the 3 impact players for the Henderson Silver Knights this year. So Gage Quinney, Diansenko, and Bischoff as your 3 guys who've been doing pretty well for the Henderson Silver Knights so far this year. And I want to know from everybody who's watching, everybody's watching right now, when it comes to the Henderson Silver Knights being 6-2, Golden Knights being 9-1, UNLV hockey beating Arizona Wildcats a few nights ago, this has been a fantastic season for Vegas, hasn't it? This has been an entertaining and must-watch season to be a hockey fan in Vegas. Henderson doing well. Vegas doing well. UNLV doing well. What a time to be alive. And shout out to the Las Vegas T-Birds, by the way. They're doing good as well. I've been watching them as well. So, this is Vegas Hockey Hub, and I want to give you a small preview for what our show is going to be later tonight. So, on Tuesday night, we are going to be doing an upcoming show, doing our minor league hockey report on the Vegas Hockey Hub show. So we're going to be breaking down the Savannah Ghost Pirates and the Henderson Silver Knights. Plus, we're going to be breaking down an impact player from UNLV Rebels Hockey. So it's going to be a fantastic show tonight as you're going to be doing our minor league hockey report here on the show. And then for anybody who's wondering about the player profiles, Michael Amadio is almost done. In fact, it has pretty much been it's already been recorded. It's going to be uploaded here at Vegas Hockey Hub. But yeah, Michael Amadio for our player profile. He's the next one that we have made here on Vegas Hockey Hub. So our 2 upcoming videos is a player profile on Michael Amadio and our minor league report for October, talking about the Silver Knights, Ghost Pirates, and Rebels. So I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and this is Vegas Hockey Hub. And until next time, continue watching hockey, go support junior hockey, and go Knights, go!
PR Connections Radio presents